legalization of same-sex marriage. What is the Supreme Court examining as of now? Let's talk about that. If changes are made to the Special Marriage Act, if man and woman can be called persons, husband and wife will be called spouses. These are some of the arguments that have been going on. Remember, the Supreme Court said that it's not going to adjourn the hearing in the case. The centre has asked for a response from the states across the country, saying that a response is needed from the states, and this is the affidavit that the centre has filed in the Supreme Court. And these are the details that the Supreme Court is also looking at and talking about the age limit that has been set already. So the minimum age for marriage. So these are several details of marriage as it exists as of now, and the details being examined by the Supreme Court as of now. The Supreme Court is looking at whether changes can be made to the Special Marriage Act. Remember, initially the centre had told the Supreme Court that same-sex marriages are an elitist concept. This is a statement that had been made. As of today, the centre has also filed an affidavit asking for the response from the states across the country to give in their response on what their view. The centre was also of the view that these decisions that should not be taken in the Supreme Court because it's not a representation of the entire country. These decisions should be taken in the Parliament with the representatives of the country. Let's go across to legal editor Harish Nair, who's joining us with the details of what's going on in the court. Harish, this is going to be a very, very big decision for the court to take. As of now, the Supreme Court has decided that it will not adjourn the case, even though the centre has said it has asked for 10 days for the states to respond to what their stand is on the same. Take us through what happened in the Supreme Court today.
Yes, that's right, Pratibha. At the outset today, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta said that the centre is filing a fresh application that even the state should be made a party in this all-sensitive matter because they are a very big stakeholder in this matter where Supreme Court is deciding whether to legalize the same-sex marriage in the country. And Solicitor General Tushar Mehta said that not only states, the large section of the population, urban, semi-urban, rural, semi-rural, and also several personal laws have to be examined, and also several religious dominations have to be consulted. So this involves a lot of discussions with stakeholders. Until then, the Supreme Court should keep in abeyance the ongoing hearing. But the Chief Justice said that it will not delay, it will not hold the hearing. The matter will continue and allowed the lawyers for the various parties to continue their argument. And in fact, the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta vehemently argued that this is a urban elite concept, and in fact, the Supreme Court should not intervene. This is a realm of policy making. This involves a lot of important issues which the Supreme Court cannot decide, but the state should be allowed to. This is a realm of the legislature and domain of the Parliament, and the Supreme Court should not decide. But the Supreme Court has, for the time being, rejected all these arguments and has refused to stay the hearing and has asked the lawyers to argue on merits.
And so decided. Harish, request you to stay on with us. We'll continue discussing the same. Just want to get a point of view from Brinda Adige, activist joining us on the broadcast. Ms. Brinda Adige, thank you for joining us. How do you look at these developments after the centre called it an elitist concept? The Chief Justice saying there's no data to show that this is indeed an elitist concept.
If they want data, then the government must go all out and get it. The fact that the government is apathetic towards this issue doesn't mean that they would coin it as an elitist. They want to look at it in that manner so that they say that the number is very little. But let us take it just for the sake of argument. Even if in this country of 1.4 billion, there are two people, a couple, then it is important that we have the necessary laws for that couple. They cannot be absorbed of and subsumed and said that this is an elitist concept or an elitist ask. First and foremost, we know that because there is so much of education, awareness, and the space, people are coming out and talking about it. Villages and small towns, people frown upon these things. So even though there are these couples, there are people who are gay, who are lesbians, who are trans persons, they don't want to come out. They find it difficult because socially we don't allow them that space. So nobody is going to come out and talk. So I think the Supreme Court is wrong in coining it as, the argument that is being made about elitist concept must be completely removed. One.
In fact, yes, that's a statement that was made by the centre, but the Chief Justice saying that there is no proof to show that this is just an elitist concept, but also something that the Supreme Court is looking at, and these arguments that have been made in court are also on the changes that should be made in Special Marriage Act. So the centre seems to be of the view, and it has now taken what the view of the states are going to be in the case as well, wanting the states also to be a party to it. The centre has been saying that 377 has been abolished and, the same-sex relationships are now accepted, but saying that it's completely different when we talk about marriage.
Yes, because marriage is again a religious and a socially sanctioned practice. It has become an institution for various reasons. And those institutions, for whatever, good or bad, the gay people are asking for the same sanction. And if there have to be changes to be made, whether in the laws, in the nomenclature, in the definitions, which are going to then be inclusive and include people, all citizens, irrespective of their sexuality, and that is what the Supreme Court is also trying to do. I think it is time for the parliamentarians to sit down, put their heads together, and see what a robust, progressive law will look like for all people, including everybody. Cannot be elitist. That is what my constitution is.
Okay, all right. Ms. Brinda Arige, thank you for joining us on the broadcast. Going back to Harish on what's expected in the Supreme Court, because it has refused to adjourn it, so the hearing is going to continue. Harish, yesterday, in the hearing before this, we had the Chief Justice say that gender is a much more complicated issue than what is seen at the face of it, while today also saying that's something that the centre has said, that this is an elitist concept. The Supreme Court saying that there is no data whatsoever to prove what the government is saying, that it is people from the urban areas and urban people that come out of the closet more often.
Yes, that's right, Pratibha. Even yesterday, the Supreme Court had said that in our university, there are a large number of students who are indulging in same-sex relationship, and this has become more prevalent after the scrapping of 377, which is decriminalizing homosexuality. And university students are not just urban but also rural. Today, the Supreme Court said that the impression that this is an urban concept has born out of the fact that this is more urban people are coming out of the closet, but this is wrong. Even in the affidavit, the centre has not given any data to substantiate their claim that this is nothing but an urban elite concept, and this is against the societal morality and Indian ethos. Remember, the centre had very vehemently said the argument that as per legal parlance in India, which is accepted by the society, marriage is a holy union, sacrament and a sanskar, and only marriage between a biological woman and biological man is accepted in our society as per the century-old traditions and culture, and same-sex marriage has no place in Indian society. Remember, today the Supreme Court also, the Chief Justice bench also dealt with another aspect dealt by the NCPCR, which had said that the Supreme Court should not allow same-sex couples to adopt children because they may have psychological effect on them. But the Chief Justice said this is a very unfounded argument. After the decriminalization of homosexual acts, there are gay couples, lesbian couples, and one of them can even adopt a child, and it will not have any psychological effect on the children. The only thing is that they will not get the benefits of parenthood and other legal rights like inheritance and adoption. So this is what the Supreme Court is now looking into, what all rights can be conferred on the same-sex couples. And today, Supreme Court also examined whether it can legalize same-sex marriage by interpreting the Special Marriage Act. Remember, the Section 4 of the Special Marriage Act says that two persons can marry if the male has completed 21 years, if the woman has completed 18 years. Supreme Court is now examining whether this man and woman can be replaced with persons, husband and wife can be replaced with spouse, and whether two male members can marry at an age at minimum age of 21 and 2 women can marry at a minimum age of 18. So these are the aspects which will be examined tomorrow. Today the bench has risen and the hearing will continue tomorrow. Back to you.
Okay, all right. Harish, also with the centre now asking for the states also to be party to it or give their view on the same and then respond within 10 days. How is that going to play out? Because previously as well the centre has maintained that these are decisions that should not be taken in the court but it should be taken in the parliament.
Yes, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, who had appeared for the centre, has been repeatedly urging the court that Supreme Court should not hear the matter. Supreme Court should first hear the preliminary objections that have been raised by the centre in this regard, that these petitions are not maintainable. The Supreme Court cannot hear it. These issues are at the realm of Parliament and legislature, and Supreme Court should desist from passing any law in this regard, because only the centre can handle it, because a lot of discussion with the stakeholders are required, like a large section of population, urban, semi-urban, rural, semi-rural, and several personal laws have to be examined, several religious denominations have to be consulted, several leaders of various religions have to be consulted, because this will affect the marriage laws of various religions and also personal laws, and for that states should be made a party, and without consulting state, this matter cannot be adjudicated upon. But the Chief Justice today refused to stay the hearing, refused to put the hearing on hold till the centre completed the consultation process, and said that the lawyers can continue to argue. This was when Mukul Rohatgi, who had appeared for one of the petitioners, said that once the centre has made such an argument, should the hearing be kept on hold till the centre completes the consultation process. But at this juncture, Chief Justice said that Mukul Rohatgi can continue to argue on merits. You did not bother about the Solicitor General's contention that the states should be issued notice and their views should be taken before we can proceed with the hearing. So as of now, centre has suffered a setback as Supreme Court has refused to stay the hearing and has decided to go ahead with the hearing and allowed the senior lawyers for various petitioners who have sought legalization of same-sex marriage to go ahead with the hearing on merits.
Okay, all right. Harish, thank you for joining us with those details. Now, of course, the hearing is going to continue. For today, it's over, but tomorrow it is going to resume. We'll come back to you for those updates. More breaking updates now coming in on the broadcast of